Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the live stream. Welcome back to the channel. How's everybody doing? Hopefully all is well out there. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Everybody's doing good. Today is Sunday, April the 12th, 2026. Time is flying. We're already in the second quarter of the year. We're starting a brand new week. What's up, everybody? I appreciate y'all joining. Make sure you subscribe. Got a little issue with people subscribing, but it's all good. What's up, Shep? What's up, Ryan? What's up, Real Life? Shout out to you. What's up, Dorelli? What's up, AWB? The Great Reset is here. Yes, it is. Look at, according to your president, the world leader, right? Even the world leader is acknowledging it, right? World's most powerful reset, President Donald J. Trump. He's even saying it. Now, you take that with a grain of salt, you interpret it however you want, but we already know, we're underneath a great reset. The markets are being manipulated. A lot of things are going on, so you definitely got to be positioned. I'm going to cover this mainly on a technical analysis perspective, but we're also going to get into some of the, the history of all this. So I'm going to get into that as well. Let me get a quick roll call. Y'all shout out where y'all from. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, right? Donald J. Trump, world's most powerful reset. I'm going to get into some headlines. Before I do that, let's come over to, let's look at the markets right quick. Let me pull this up. Let's come over and look at the markets. First thing I want to look at, to be honest, is I want to look at oil, right? First market I want to look at is oil. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. What's up, Ryan? We got East Coast Canada in the building. We got Southern California in the building. What's up, Derelli? What's up, Real Life? Baltimore, Be More in the building. We got Mudvayne. What's up, bro? Baton Rouge, Louisiana in the building. I was just out there yesterday. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Appreciate y'all joining. Got a lot to cover, man. It's Sunday. The markets have already opened up. I don't know if I should get to the headlines first or get to the markets, but first thing I want to look at is the price of oil. It has gapped open higher as predicted. I've been calling these things, and there's reason behind it, right? There's reason behind oil wanting to move higher on Sunday at the open. It's currently trading at $104. I've been calling for a $130 near-term oil price. We're going to get into it. So let's come over to let's come over to X. Let's come over to X right quick. A lot going on. Let's come over here. Look at some of these headlines. So let's see. So just in, right, not too long ago, probably less than an hour ago, President Trump is weighing limited military strikes on Iran after negotiation talks collapse, according to the Wall Street Journal, So here we are, kind of as expected, kind of pretty much forecasting, pretty much on par with the narrative. The war ain't over. So Donald J. Trump weighing limited military strikes. We already know how far they can go. What's up, Sin? Ain't seen you in a while. Appreciate you joining. Yes, Real Life. Trump blocking the straits. So if we scroll down a little bit, the Strait of America. So they're not even calling it the Strait of Hormuz. This shit is the Strait of America now, right? Just like the Gulf of America, no longer the Gulf of Mexico. We're just going to flat out call this the Strait of America because that's, according to Trump and his people, that's our shit now, right? So the Strait of America, because some waterways are just too important to leave to anyone else. U.S. Navy patrols are here. Made in the USA. One thing I had looked up, I wanted to go over here and I wanted to look at the maritime traffic. This is real-time maritime traffic, right? If we just zoom out, you can see all the maritime traffic in the world. It's insane, ain't it? Real insane. The white area, if you can see on this map, the white shaded area, that's the waterways, right? So I'm gonna zoom in over here in the Strait of America. No disrespect, Strait of America. You can see right here, right? This is the the Strait of Hormuz right here over there in Iran. You can see that there's no traffic flowing through here, right? So there's blockades. And what do you think that's going to happen? If we create another blockade, right? We got that. Iran already has a blockade, and then we go and create another blockade. That's only going to backlog even more fucking, the oil prices. So oil is going to continue to go higher as expected. There's narratives at play blocking the strait, but there's a lot to cover right now. So we got to cover China. We got to cover Iran, because China is allegedly wanting to do business with Iran with their currency. So Iran wanting to sell oil to China using Chinese yuan, and they're also accepting crypto. So here comes the crypto narrative. But as you can see, ships have to go around. So the ships that do go through, right? Let's come up here. The ships that do have to go through, they have to go around the coastline, right? The ones that get access, they got to come to the coastline. If I zoom in right here, you see this little green dot? That'll tell you right there. That's the name of the vessel. And it'll tell you how long it's been positioned there for 23 hours. So you got ships off the coast right here, and they having to go around. But nobody's going through the middle, right? And then they got a lot of ships. They're parked up. They're just parked up. A lot of just traffic just sitting. So that's interesting to me. So a lot of traffic. Another narrative that I've seen, though, I don't know how true it is. A lot of the traffic is headed over here to the United States, the Gulf of America, right? So a lot of that Middle Eastern traffic coming to the shores of America. This is the Gulf of America. And you can see, I keep saying the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico. And a lot of that traffic is wanting to come over here. You can see a lot of people, a lot of ships coming to Houston, the Houston area, Texas, etc. But there's a lot of waterway traffic flowing in and out over here in America compared to over there in the Middle East. There's a lot of traffic jam. Let me come back over here to X. Let me read the chat. Mom Spaghetti, what's up? Appreciate you joining. It's an illusion. Doing what Iran was doing in the first place. Yep, I agree. Sin, yeah, it's been a minute. I got notification, and knew you was about to drop some gems. You already know, Sin. Appreciate y'all joining. Make sure y'all subscribe. If you don't do nothing, subscribe to the channel, right? Subscribe. And again, here goes another energy dominance, right? A lot of shit going on. Let me see what this is. Honestly, this map was made. Okay, let me not click on that. I want to stay on topic. Let's see. Are you seeing it yet? This is Trump's reset. Trump card played. So Donald Trump pretty much calling a great reset. Just in, Iran internet blackout hits 44 days, the longest nationwide shutdown ever recorded. So Iran, they've been out of internet allegedly, and they're disconnected. Let's see. The amount of U.S. Air Force transports heading to the Middle East tonight is insane. This was about an hour ago. So they're saying a lot of military planes flying through Europe to the Middle East back and forth. So I'm gonna let y'all determine what that is. So they got tollways in the Strait of Hormuz now. So I need to get a little bit more information. We're gonna come into the headlines in a minute. Matter of fact, let's come over here to YouTube. And let's get some of these headlines out the way from mainstream media.
The U.S. military has said it'll begin blockading all maritime traffic entering and leaving Iranian ports tomorrow. President Trump had earlier pledged to block the Strait of Hormuz. His comments came after talks between senior U.S. and Iranian diplomats in Pakistan broke down without agreement. Here's our World News correspondent, Joe Inwood.
As J.D. Vance landed back on American soil, he was returning from a marathon, historic negotiation, but one that had not delivered a deal.
We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
After the talks, Iran said they'd not expected an agreement in a single session, but implied that one may be possible. The question now, what would President Trump do next? We did not have to wait long for an answer. Writing on social media, he said he would begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. He also claimed that other countries will be involved with this blockade. In the last half hour, the US military said it will begin tomorrow. It's a response to Iran effectively blockading the strait to the vast majority of ships. That's had a huge impact on the global economy, one that grows by the day. Ending this was a key objective of the talks in Pakistan. With that unsuccessful, this appears to be the president's new tactic.
It seems to be probably at least part of a negotiating strategy to ratchet up tension on Iran and also to hit them economically in terms of less revenues for Iran. Obviously, that's key for him. And as well as potentially put pressure on Iran's partners, such as China.
But speaking on US TV a few hours later, President Trump made clear it was not the only escalation available.
The only thing left, really, is their water, which would be very devastating to hit. I would hate to do it. But it's their water, their desalinization plants, their electric generating plants, which are very easy to hit. We could hit them, we could have them all down.
In Tehran, after nearly 40 days of constant airstrikes, to have pictures of negotiations on the front pages will come as some relief, even if they were not the headlines these people wanted.
I was really hoping they would make an agreement and reach a conclusion. It's been almost 45 days now, and I can see the stress in people. This is not what our country deserves.
I would have preferred that there was no war and peace and tranquility instead. But I think there's no other way than war and confrontation.
For now, while neither side seems willing to back down, neither seems to be rushing for a return to war. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
And Lee's Doucette is in Islam.
So that's the recent headline right now. You know, hey, that's where we at right now. There's nothing else more to be said about that. That's the current situation. Straight to her muse. You see all the headlines coming out. So let's come over and look at the market. First thing I want to look at is the United States dollar. The United States dollar, as oil spikes up, right? This is a daily time frame for the dollar, but right now the dollar, are we in a premium or are we in a discount? Let me get some participation with the dollar. I got a dealing range from this swing low up to this swing high, right? We pretty much came down last week, but here we are. Let me go out to the weekly. Go out to the weekly time frame. Right now, the dollar long term is kind of consolidating. Yes, the rally premium, Shep premium. Yes, it's illusion premium. So the dollar currently is at a premium. This is a weekly time frame. Earlier this morning, I was getting a long-term perspective on the dollar. What does that look like? Let me show y'all. The dollar is a key pivotal instrument or a tool, right? And I'm going to ask y'all in the chat. I was asking people in my Discord, does this system, right, the government or whoever, the powers that be, do they want a strong currency, a dollar, or do they want a strong stock market, right? Because how it's currently set up is they're not correlated, right? So if the dollar is weak, you get a bullish stock market. If the dollar is strong, you get a weaker stock market. You kind of understand how that goes? I've gone over it before. Do they want a strong stock market or a strong currency? Which one is more strategic for power? Which one is more strategic for power? I'm asking y'all that question. Let me get some participation. Any answers? It's an illusion. You say a strong dollar? Okay. Okay, so pretty much everybody is saying a strong currency. So the currency, all right, the dollar is it's a multi-tool instrument, right? You know how you got like those multi-tool pocket knives and shit? They got like screwdrivers, a knife, a pair of pliers. That's what the dollar is. It has many use cases. It's a weapon. First of all, the dollar is a debt instrument. It's a debt note, but it's used for, you know, everything in society. At the same time, it's the world reserve currency. And when we have world reserve currency status as a nation, the United States, we can get away with things that most everybody else can't. Nobody else can do what we can do. So if the dollar is being threatened, right? If the dollar is being threatened, I could see them going to the extreme lengths of keeping this currency in power, right? But right now, we're in a reset, right? We're in the reset moment. So what do I mean by that? The dollar right now, this is a 3-month time frame. This is how far I zoomed out, right? And I was doing some long-term analysis on the dollar just to kind of see where is it at. And when I did that analysis, I found this range right here, the Dillon range. If you don't know what a Dillon range is, it's a range that measures premium and discount. Smart money likes to buy discounts. They like to sell their premiums. That's a Dillon range. So this range that I have currently pulled up on my chart, it goes from July 2001 down to January 2008, right? So from 01 to 08, we have been inside of a Dillon range for over 20 years. Can y'all understand that? Put that in perspective. We have been inside of a Dillon range for over 20 years. This is the current Dillon range. Are we currently in a premium or are we in a discount with the Dillon range? I'm gonna ask y'all that question. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe. Are we in a premium or discount? Shep, we are in a premium. Ryan, premium. AWB, premium. Appreciate it. Right, so being that we're in a premium, this is a broad, long-term perspective, right? I'm not focused on none of this over here. I'm only focused on the current range. So we are currently in a premium. And where did we come from? That's the question you need to ask. Well, when we sold off around the years of 2001 to 2008, that was during the economic crisis. We came down and we took out liquidity, sell side liquidity. Price always seeks liquidity right there, right? Boom. Sweeps liquidity. Smart money offload their shorts. And then from 2008 all the way, from 2008 all the way to 2022, it has been in a buy program. Ain't that a long time? Right? Long time it's been in the buy program. So what have they been doing? Money over time has been getting more tighter, etc. But right now we're currently in the premium. And when we went up into the premium side of the range, we went into this purple shaded area, which is this SIBI. Sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. You think that's random that we trade into that? Do you mean to tell me they create ranges for that goes for 20, 30 years? Is some of this shit pre-predicted, forecasted? Y'all let me know. I don't think it's random that they can create a range that lasts for over 20 years in the dollar. So as long as the dollar stays in this range, I guess they're keeping dominance, control, whatever. I don't know what to call it. But being that we're in a premium, you can see how price is trying to move lower on the dollar, right? Initially, I thought it was strong, but I had to zoom out. And as we break down, we trade into this BISI right here. Trade into it. We stay down there for a few months. We trade back up. Just the first quarter of last year, right? We trade into this SIBI. Sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. Trade into it. And now we're currently in this range right here, right? We're just consolidating for the dollar. The dollar is trying to find some type of, foothold. It's trying to find some type of foothold. And I'm kind of banking that this might want to come down. If the dollar sells off, right? If the dollar sells off, it's going to want to come for liquidity down here. We got relative equal lows. It's going to want to come down for the liquidity where the orders are in the discount side of the range. But the dollar's in an interesting space right now because of the Great Reset. Are we going through the Great Reset right now? I think it's underway because you see the Strait of Hormuz situation. We got Iran and other nations, BRICS nations. They want to do business with China. The dollar is being threatened right now. The NATO countries, nobody is wanting to come to our aid right now and help us and assist us over there in the Middle East. Now that can change, but right now, currently, America's left on their own. We on the island by ourselves. So can we do all of this shit by ourselves at this stage in the game? I don't know. Real life, we're being played. Yep. Real life, we're being played. So the one way we're getting played is the dollar. It's a fiat currency, meaning it's fake. It's a debt instrument. So the dollar is directly tied to the treasury bonds, right? They're directly tied to the treasury bonds or the T-notes. And whenever our government needs to borrow money, they go to the Federal Reserve. They print out, let's say, 10 billion treasury bonds in exchange for 10 billion in dollars. And we're exchanging debt for debt. So the dollar is a debt instrument. The bond is a debt instrument. But the system that we under, they make us use these dollars to exchange. You know, we got to buy for what do I mean? We got to purchase our homes. We got to buy food. We got to pay bills. They got us under this slave system, right? The dollar is a weapon of mass destruction, and it's ingenious. It's really ingenious. It's a weapon of mass destruction, and they got us caught in this system. But the system right now is on the verge of resetting. That's why I named this. How I'm looking at market structure right now, the dollar is being threatened geopolitically, internationally, and it's at the verge of collapse because we have printed too much into the system. It's an illusion. Fed loans out the money and then buys the debt during the QE. Crazy work. Yeah, there you go. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. I'm putting y'all on game, and I'm tying the markets to it. I'm connecting them dots and showing you from a charting perspective. How the hell does the dollar stay in a 20-year plus range from 2001 all the way to 2026? It's been consolidating. So to me, this has been a plan and engineered for a very long time, right? This has been a long-term master plan that most people can't even conceive, right? They can't even conceive this. But at this stage right now in the dollar on this time frame is in a premium, and it's really damned if you do, damn you if you don't. If the dollar sells off, right, then the stock market rallies. If the dollar sells off, excuse the stock market. If the dollar sells off, we're going to continue to print money into the system, which we already know that's a bad thing for the fucking system because eventually it's going to break. If we continue to print, we're going to just continue to flood the system with money. At the same time, the economy ain't reflecting that. People are losing their jobs. People are getting laid off. Automation, AI, robotics, corporations making smarter decisions as far as efficiency is not reflecting the real world. Make sure y'all smash that like button, subscribe. It's not reflecting the real world. So again, also the dollar is also connected to commodities like oil. The dollar is directly connected to a commodity like oil. It's almost pegged to oil. The oil, everything in society moves because of oil. So the dollar is kind of pegged to oil. So if oil gets volatile, that's going to bring volatility to the dollar, right? Let's come back over here to oil. Let me look at oil. Right now, oil pushing higher right now, $105 a barrel, right? Dollars are priced in oil. They had to back the dollar by something. They decided to back it in oil. The dollar is backed by oil. It's the petrodollar. As this conflict, so Iran is doing a major damage to America. That's what I'm trying to show y'all. Is this the start of the Great Reset? Because as long as that strait over there stays blocked, Iran is conflicting damage. And if Iran starts to want to do deals with China and other nations to sell that oil, that's going to directly impact the United States dollar. That's going to bring the dollar down. It's going to start crashing it, right? And it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. So I'm gonna come back to oil. We're gonna deep dive a little bit more. I'm just trying to paint the picture. Let's come back over to some headlines. What else I got for y'all? Let me see what else I got. Let me see. Let's see what else I got. Let's play this video right quick.
In a post on X, the U.S. Central Command said CENTCOM forces will begin implementing a blockade of all maritime traffic entering and exiting Iranian ports in accordance with the president's proclamation. The blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. CENTCOM forces will not impede freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. Additional information will be provided to commercial mariners through a formal notice prior to the start of the blockade. And Iran's Revolutionary Guard has warned military vessels to keep away. The IRGC says that only non-military vessels will be allowed to pass under strict regulations, but they have vowed a strong response to unwelcome ships and boats. Al Jazeera's Heidi Jo Castro is live for us in Washington, D.C. Heidi, walk us through, we read parts of the CENTCOM statement. Walk us through step by step what they are saying they're going to do. Where and when is this taking place and how?
Absolutely, because there are some points of confusion here. First of all, after those peace talks failed to produce a deal, we saw the Trump administration quickly shift to this new headline about this naval blockade. And there are discrepancies between how Trump announced it and how we're hearing these details from U.S. CENTCOM. Trump had said that this blockade would target any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. But now we're hearing from CENTCOM that no, in fact, this would only target ships that go to or from Iranian ports. Also, CENTCOM saying that as for the rest of those ships, international vessels not going to or from Iran, they would have freedom of navigation to transit the strait. That is different, again, from what Trump had said earlier in his proclamation, saying that any international vessel that pays a toll to Iran to get through Hormuz would be interdicted by the U.S. Navy in international waters. He said no one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. That issue of tolls not at all addressed in these details released by Central Command. Also, we're not sure exactly, well, CENTCOM says that at exactly 14 GMT on Monday is when this more selective blockade takes effect. Trump had said it would be effect immediately. So lots of questions here, but many people are also pointing out, experts pointing out that whatever the case, the U.S. might have to justify this action, given that it's unclear whether it would have the legal authority to blockade international commercial vessels in international waters. And namely, there's China and its response. China is Iran's biggest trade partner. And so any sort of blockade of goods coming in from Iranian ports would certainly impact China as well. And all of these are lingering questions.
Al Jazeera's Heidi Jo Castro live in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Now, in Islamabad, mediators are.
So that's that. That's I think Monday is going to be interesting. I think this entire week is going to be interesting. The markets have opened. Let me take a quick peek at the equities, right? Let me look at the equities and let me see. There we go. Y'all in the Discord. Y'all in the look. We come up. This is the Nasdaq, right? I'm gonna look at the S&P as well. Look at the Nasdaq and look at the S&P. There. Look at that gap down, right? Look at that gap down. Didn't we kind of call that in my Discord? What did I tell y'all? I said, hey, if it goes higher, I'm gonna let it go. But if it gaps down, I'm looking for shorts, right? And look at the news right there. That's why I say the technicals are there, but there's also narrative at play. That's why you kind of gotta adopt a economist viewpoint. You gotta view the markets as an economist. And also use these algorithmic concepts that I talk about and I teach y'all. And there it is. We go. It's not random. We go to a premium and then we gap down. And now I'm completely bearish, right? I'm completely bearish. This market is coming down. Make sure y'all smash that like button, subscribe. Let's come over here, check out some more headlines, and we're gonna talk about why this is a great reset. Let's see. Saudi Arabia, breaking news. Saudi Arabia restores the east-west pipeline bypassing the Strait of Hormuz, capacity at 7 million barrels per day. Waking up on Monday and you realize we're in the blockade of a blockade of another blockade, right? So, yeah, it's getting crazy out here. The world is effed. Iran fully under siege. China not going to set their oil. China not going to get their oil. Neither will India. Now it's about survival. We could actually see World War III. Do y'all hear that? Huh? If China's not going to get their oil, if India ain't going to get their oil because of the blockades, we created a blockade of a blockade. Do y'all realize what we just did? Iran already created a blockade, but now we're creating another blockade, and there's going to be shots fired on both sides. That's not a good sign. I don't know why I couldn't see the blockade of a blockade, but it is what it is. Let me see. USA imposes a siege on all Iranian ports and marinas for an undefined period of time, announced. So here we are. We're going to occupy the Strait of Hormuz, and now it's the Strait of America. We're going to get into crypto as well. We're going to get into some crypto. So y'all hang tight. We're going to get into some crypto. Because crypto is a narrative in this. I hope y'all know that, right? Crypto is a narrative. Let's see. Trump speaks in I don't. Let me see. When was this?
Sailing up and heading out to our country. Big, beautiful tankers, and we're loading them up with oil and gas and everything else. And it's a pretty beautiful thing to see. The boats are sailing up.
Now I seen something saying Donald Trump was supposed to speak. I don't know if that's true. Y'all let me know in the chat. Is he supposed to speak tonight? I would gladly play that for y'all if he speaks. This is who actually feels the pain in Hormuz stays closed, if Hormuz stay closed. So these are the countries that will feel the most pain. So we got China, which is 38% that will feel them. China will be impacted the most. That, to me, that's an act of war. I think China could retaliate or act on what's going on over there. That's going to push China into desperate measures. We're going to get into China in a minute. The rest of Asia definitely impacted. We got India, we got South Korea, Japan, and the European nations, all impacted by this little small piece of waterway being blocked. Let's see. What else can I go over? Let's listen to old Alex Jones, man. I ain't got no conspiracy theories, but let's see what Alex Jones had to say.
It is Sunday, April 12th, 2026. All of my predictions since this Iran-Israel-U.S. war began back on March 1st have come true, because this Strait of Hormuz war with Iran has been war game as much as anything else has. It's up there in the very top few. It's very well known what the scenarios are. It's on record. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, all of them told Trump that this wasn't true what Israel was telling him, but the neocons came in and they lied to Trump. I first broke that a month ago. It's confirmed now by the White House. Absolutely insane. And now Iran has us by the balls because we started this with Israel. They're not going to give the concessions Trump wants. The peace deals I predicted last week fell through. And now Trump has announced he's going to blockade everybody going through the strait and not let Iran get out its oil. Iran's ready to sit there for months or years and play this game of chicken. And I've been saying that will be the next move, is a blockade. And why haven't our ships gone in there before when Trump said he was a few weeks ago? Because then they can be hit by all the short range and medium range missiles and artillery. So this is beyond insane. The U.S. will now get the blame even more for the energy crisis that's already spread around the world. Inflation numbers came in last week. It is causing massive inflation in the United States as well. And chain reactions around the planet, like Taiwan not being able to make chips because they can't get the liquid natural gas. It goes on and on. And Israel knew that when they attacked to drag us into it, that there was a good chance the Bulls wouldn't fall, but they were going to commit us to a full war and then face saving. And now Trump is in a huge pissing contest with people that psychologically are not going to back down. And I predict the Bulls are not going to fall, at least for 6 months a year. And by then, the economy will be beyond devastated. And that's what BlackRock and Larry Fink and the Rothschilds want. And they're really happy right now. They had the COVID lockdown to kill the economy, and their wealth doubled as the public lost about half theirs on average. And now it's going to happen again because they've got all the free money to loan out. And they'll put us on the global social credit score and all the rest of it. So things were going so well till Trump let the tail wag the dog and Israel control our foreign policy and thus our domestic policy. That's the reality in the year 2026. Pray for an awakening. Pray for Trump to wake up, call out Israel, and pull out of this now and make a real deal with Iran. That's the only way. It needs to be done now. Follow me on next, Real Alex Jones. Full transmission.
Hey, man, that man be spot on sometimes, right? He kind of be spot on sometimes. The Rothschilds, Larry Fink and them. New World Order. I don't know if I should say that, but the Great Reset, right? The Great Reset is here. You know what I'm saying? The Rothschilds, the bankers, I'm sure they smiling with a grin on their face. They living good. They living better than most of us. Some of y'all, I mean, I've seen gas prices in some parts of California already $9, right? Already $9. This energy crisis, oil, we're continuing to kick the can down the road, right? We continue to press, and here we are. The energy crisis can shut down the whole economy. Make sure y'all subscribe. Hit them like button, get the likes up. Make sure y'all subscribe as well. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into the charts here shortly. I'm just going over the weekend headlines. All right, we cover most of it. So if you're just coming in, y'all make sure y'all go back and rewatch. Check this out. I seen this. So with all this going on, you know, we got hospitals bringing out robots, right? We got hospitals bringing out robots. So this right here, you know, as the energy crisis goes on, as unemployment rises, you're starting to see the future starting to be rolled out. And when I see shit like this, I think Agenda 2030. So let's play it. That's pretty much a doctor, right? That's a doctor that ain't there. He at home. The doctor is at home. Is this the new age of what we about to see, right? The doctor is at home and they got a kiosk rolling around the hospital. Insane, bro. Insane. President Trump, if gas prices rise, then let it rise. It don't concern me, of course, because he doesn't have to pay for gas. Let me see. He doesn't have to pay for gas. Let's see. What else can I cover before I come to the markets? Iran, the war, the movie. I'm not going to play that because I'm probably going to get flagged. Let's see.
What I think will happen is the U.S. debt, in a nutshell, what I think will happen is the U.S. debt gets privatized and uploaded to the world. Right? Every major corporation will become a bank. Every major app will become a wallet, and every person on earth with a smartphone will become an unknowing creditor to the United States government. They will solve the debt problem and the AI problem at the same time with a digital currency system that funds the government, controls the UBI payments that feeds the people that lost their jobs to AI in the first place, and it gives the central planners a button that they can turn on or off for every single person's financial life. Oh yeah, hold on. That sounds crazy, right? What does that even look like? All right, so imagine Tesla announces a digital wallet. You load it up with dollars. Tesla takes those dollars and invests them into US Treasury bonds, earning, let's say, 4 or 5%. Tesla keeps a little, passes some back to you in the form of rewards, discounts on your next car, maybe charging credits, maybe an actual yield, right? You're happy because your money's working for you. Tesla's happy because they're earning a spread on their deposits, and the US government is happy because someone bought more of their debt. Now multiply that across every major corporation on earth. You'll get Apple Wallet, Amazon Wallet, McDonald's Wallet, Google Pay with yield, every airline, every retailer, every platform we already use. All of them will become distribution channels for US government debt. All of them holding US treasuries as the backing for whatever digital asset or rewards program they'll offer you. Now, if that sounds like some crazy theory, this is literally what the legislation moving through Congress right now requires. It's called the Genius Act. And what it says is, any company that wants to issue a stablecoin, a dollar-pegged digital asset, must hold US treasuries or equivalent safe assets as the backing, dollar for dollar. Which means corporations will have to buy real government debt first. And this has already been successfully tested with a company called Tether, the company behind the biggest stablecoin in the world. It holds over $120 billion in US treasuries right now. All right, that makes them one of the biggest holders of US government debt on the planet. In fact, bigger than some countries even. And Tether was the system's test. Now, imagine this same dynamic, but with the brand recognition of Tesla, the distribution of Apple, the loyalty programs of every airline and retailer we already use.
There you have it, man. The future, the Genius Act. Yes, it's an illusion. You are correct. The Genius Act. The Genius Act. Boss, AWB, what is the name of this guy, TikTok? I think it's one of those, somebody clipped it up, so I'm not sure if it's TikTok. I do follow him on YouTube, though. I forget his YouTube channel, but if I run across it, I'll let you know. I'll send it to you. It's an illusion. It's It's in the okay. You telling him what it is? That's not actually his channel. That's just one of those probably random channels that just only pretty much clips videos. But good information though. The Genius Act, Agenda 2030, the Great Reset. That's all Great Reset narrative. So you heard it from somebody else. You know, the Great Reset. We are here. It's happening now. It's underway. Crypto is definitely tied into this. I'm not off of crypto. It's very difficult and frustrating right now. Matter of fact, let me show you how difficult and frustrating crypto is for my crypto people. Make sure y'all subscribe and hit that like button. I'm gonna show you how difficult and frustrating right here. You know, how many people ask you, hey, how's that crypto doing? And this is all you could do right here. This is the only face that you can hit them with. You know what I'm saying? How many people you got to just, how's that crypto doing? That's all you can do. You just got to shake your head, tear up a little bit, and put your head down because y'all know y'all should have took profit. And you already looking at your portfolio like, damn, I should have took some profit off the table and I didn't do it. And now, people's inquiring about your crypto and it's like, fuck, I don't know what to tell them. So that's how crypto is right now. But crypto is still in the agenda. And all of these things that are going on right now, for some reason, my instincts is telling me somewhere in the background, crypto is going to play a part in all this. But it's a timing thing. And guess what? They're playing the long game. They're playing that long, drawn-out game, right? Do we have to go through a war before we get to see crypto? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. Ryan, F the profit. It's going to go higher. Okay, Ryan. All right. Hold on. Hodl, I guess, for dear life. But if y'all know me, if y'all in my community, y'all know the strategy we implement. Let me keep reading. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Let's see. The military, right? We got the draft, right? We got the draft. We got a military member on the ground. He's talking about the draft and recruitment is low. So, and if y'all are patriots, he's asking about, hey, where y'all at?
Talking about putting that AGSU jacket back on. Talking about I'm just waiting for the call. I'm calling. Ring, ring, ring. Pick up the fucking phone. Y'all ain't coming out here, man. Shut the fuck up with all that bullshit, man. They raised the age up to 42. My partner here, recruiter, I hit him up just to see how things going, because I'm thinking, man, y'all must be busy as fuck. He said it's slow as hell. He said it's the slowest it's ever been. He said it ain't been slower than this before. I said it's wartime. Don't you think people want to come out here and represent America? They said they did. They said they want to be right where I'm standing, defending the country. It don't look that way, do it? See, deep down, y'all doing that shit for likes. Y'all doing that shit for clickbait. Y'all doing that shit for whatever the fuck. But you ain't about it. You don't mean that shit. You ain't real like that. You don't stand on 10 toes like that. Sit your ass in the fucking house and let real soldiers handle the fucking business. And don't complain about shit. Just say thank you for your service when you see us.
Yeah, he's a real-time lifer. It's an illusion. You said, how do you even value the indices when the stable coins are running the world and markets are operating 24/7? Well, it's an illusion. There's nothing going to change. The indices are going to be a 24/7 market, right? And we're still going to be able to speculate and trade them. So nothing changes. We're just speeding up the efficiencies of the economy in the markets. That's all. Nothing is changing, bro, as far as that. There's going to be change, but still going to take advantage. Let me see. Now, I'm not reading that long ass shit. Gas, nearly $10 in California, right? Gas, nearly $10 in California. Let's check it out.
All right, now we are in Naja's High Sierra Desert Oasis, and these are the gas prices here.
$9.99.
No joke. All right, now we are in.
So yeah, $9.99 in California. Now, I don't want to get too conspiratorial. Nah, I'm not even going to cover that, right? I'm not even going to cover that. The whole Charlie Kirk shit. This is like, you know what I'm saying? I just let y'all see the pistol, the little pocket pistol, but I'm not going to get into that. Let's see. The United States becomes the only nation that have been involved in foreign wars or operations every single year since 1950. Right? Every single year since 1950, the United States have been at war. So that's crazy. Let me see. Iran rejects U.S. and Israel demands to restrict uranium enrichment program. So Iran, they're pretty much saying they're going to continue to use uranium. Iran demands that the U.S. unfreeze its assets within 2 weeks. Digital assets can't be freezed. So this is another thing. This is why I say somewhere in the deep background of all of this shit going on, crypto is right in the background lingering, right? So there's some type of catalyst, and it's going to be a catalyst for this. I can't tell you what it's going to be. But yes, crypto is in the background. It's just taking time. And this whole blockade is going to open up the doors probably for cryptocurrency. Let's see what else. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Let's see. Trump, NATO wasn't there when we needed them. And they won't be there if we need them again. Remember Greenland, that big, poorly run piece of ice, President Donald Trump. So Trump letting other NATO nations, hey, we ain't going to be there for y'all when shit pop off and y'all need some help. We're not going to be there for y'all. Other than that, man, I think that's enough for X, right? That's enough for X. Let me come back over here. Let me see what else I got for y'all. So the whole theme of this live stream tonight is going to be about the Great Reset, right? The Great Reset. I'm going to save some of this for last. All right, I'm going to save some of this for last. So let me go. Oh, shit. All right. I'm going to play this right here. This China information, this China news. I'm going to play this because China, y'all got to watch China, right? You got to watch China. China is a big player in all of this. Let's see what this news piece has to say.
2 Chinese oil tankers are waiting near the Strait of Hormuz. Gordon Chang joins me now. He's a China expert and he's with me here in New York. As I understand it, the Iranians are demanding Chinese currency, the RMB, in payment for these tolls and for the oil. What's the significance of them demanding Chinese currency?
Well, it shows that clearly Iran's working with China. China, of course, forced Iran to do this. And also about a week ago, Iran said it would not allow any cargoes through the Strait of Hormuz that were not paid for in renminbi. So there's 2 things. It's the paying for the cargo plus the toll in Chinese currency.
But we don't care, do we? I mean, it's an attack on the dollar, but a very small attack. And what we really want is for the oil to get through anyway. I don't care where it goes.
Yes, we want the oil to get through, but it is an important attack on the dollar because it's an attack on the petrodollar. And if the Chinese can get the Gulf states to take renminbi or something else, that is a real assault on us. Plus, the other thing, of course, is that if we've had a consistent foreign policy over 250 years, it's been the defense of the global commons. What Iran is doing right now is closing off a critical waterway. If they get away with it, other countries will do the same. China is trying to close off the East China Sea at this moment with their 40-day closure. So this could be a change in the global architecture from an open one to a closed one.
What role does China play in opening the strait? Any role at all?
Well, it is...
Other than paying the money to get their oil out?
Well, of course, they've been supporting Iran across the board, except for soldiers, sailors, and pilots, but everything else. So it's keeping Iran in the war. The other thing, of course, it did play a small mediating role in the ceasefire. And I think that they probably did push it over the line because they were pushing on an open door that had been really opened by Pakistan and others. But the point is, China wanted to show that it was a mediator, show power, because President Trump is scheduled to go to the Chinese capital May 14th. And so they want goodwill because the Chinese want a lot of other stuff.
You think he goes? You're not sure?
I'm not sure. And the reason is...
You don't think he should go, do you?
I don't think he should go for a lot of reasons. You don't go to the capital of an enemy combatant, especially in the middle of a war. Also, you know, we had this idea that if we talk to the Chinese, we can come to some accommodation. Well, we've had this idea for more than 2 decades, basically since the end of the Cold War, even before the Cold War ended. And it has only put us into this precarious situation. So we got to try something new. which is to say something new might not work, but at least it has a chance of working, because what we've been doing up to now has just been driving us deeper into the hole.
We do deals with China, but they don't live up to their obligations, do they?
No, they certainly
Consistently don't.
I mean, fentanyl, we just had our drug czar, Sarah Carter. This is the fourth time Xi Jinping has made a promise to an American president to stop the flow of fentanyl, and this is 4 times that they have dishonored that promise. Once to Obama in 2016, once to Biden in 2023, and twice to Trump, 2018 and 2025. So why are we talking to these guys? They dishonor everything they say. We need to start imposing costs, and we need to have a really different view of China, because if we don't, we're in for some really hard times.
Are they hurting?
Yes, they are.
How badly?
Because of the oil shock,
Yep.
diesel prices were up 13.5% in the first days after the attack. Diesel is very important for the Chinese economy. But there's something more important, and that is Xi Jinping now has only one path for economic growth. That's to export more. That means if the world is turbulent, and the Chinese have been creating a lot of turbulence recently, but if the world gets more turbulent, it means deglobalization, it means less trade, it means the Chinese economy has no hope of growing.
Gordon Chang.
So if that's the case with China, and they are desperate and they are hurting, most nations, when they are in that forced to their backs to the wall, they got to take action. They most likely got to take some type of action. So, hey, what is China going to do? Y'all let me know in the chat. What y'all think what is China's move? There's a lot of things going on. I can't even conceive it all. I'm just trying to put it together the best way I can. I can't even conceive all of this shit because we're living in it and it's happening in real time. So let's come over to the market. All right, coming to the market. I'm gonna start with the Treasury market, the U.S. Treasury. This is the debt market. This market right here influences the entire global system, not just the economy, the global system. These Treasury bonds, these are the debt notes. So, of course, the United States is in debt. We got to issue Treasury bonds in exchange for currency from the Federal Reserve. There's either corporations can buy these, central banks can buy these Treasury notes. Governments can buy these notes, mainly the central bank, because don't nobody want to hold United States debt. But you can see the bond market has gapped open lower, right? Now let's compare. Look at the 10-year bond at the top. Let's blow it up. Do you see the 10-year bond, the 10-year Treasury note? Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. The 10-year Treasury note has gapped lower. So if the Treasury market or the bond market is bearish, you can expect the stock market to be correlated, meaning it's going to kind of follow the same track. So this is the 10-year, but now let's look at the S&P, right? It's kind of, you can't really tell, but it has gapped open low. No, wait. Yeah, it has gapped down lower. Same with the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has gapped down lower. Wrong chart. The Nasdaq has also gapped down lower, right? Let me remove these. Let me hide this. Let me hide that. Now I can just look at the Treasury right here. All right, this is the 10-year bond. It has gapped down lower. It's bearish. Same with the S&P 500. It's bearish. It gapped down lower, and with the Nasdaq, gapped down lower. So if I compare that to all the indices, I'm sure all the indices are doing the same. Now let's come back over here. Now let's look at the yield, the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is inverted, meaning upside down. It's following the same path, but it's inverted to the 10-year Treasury bond. The Treasury bond, the 10-year bond is going lower as the 10-year yield is pushing higher. So you can see how the yield right here has gapped open higher. It's starting to push higher in a bullish direction. So when the yield is pushing higher, right, the interest rates go up. So the interest rates are always fluctuating. So the interest rate is going up, and that's forcing the dollar to do what? The United States dollar starting to let me go down to the daily. The dollar slightly inching up. I'm still bullish on the dollar. Well, no, I can't say that. I kind of want to see the dollar come up, and let's go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off. But I don't know. The dollar is ambiguous. It's one of those assets that it's like we got these geopolitical things going on. As you can see, the dollar is being directly attacked. The dollar's under attack. We got to accept it, right? It's under attack by all the things going on, and we got to take military action. And then we also got to deal with China. What does China do? Did they start doing deals with their currency? with BRICS nations? Do they want to start doing that? Because again, that's going to be an attack on the dollar. United States can't have that. I think we will go to the extreme measures to have dollar dominance, and we don't want nobody else taking control of what we got. It's to the death. It's to the death. Oh, so, okay. So the dollar right now, currently, I don't want to get too deep, right? I'm giving y'all a macro analysis, so I don't want to go intraday. If I start going intraday, this is going to turn into a different type of stream, right? Because that's more technical analysis. It's more technicals to that. So I'm trying to give you a broader picture of what does the market want to do in the upcoming months, upcoming weeks. So right now the dollar's consolidating. What does that mean for the rest of the markets? So let's come over here. Let me start y'all off on crypto. Let's come over to crypto. Right here. All right. So with all this stuff going on, the dark horse right now to me is crypto. Crypto is the dark horse. Is in the background. It's being mentioned by governments. It might be in use right now. They might want to start using it for payments, especially with this oil crisis. So I only pretty much keep up. I'm not going to keep up with everything, but I primarily keep up with XRP and Bitcoin. Those are primarily the two markets that I look at. Yes, I look at XLM. I look at XDC, Ethereum. I look at all the markets, Quant, but I don't track them every day. But right now, they're starting to come down lower. So let's first start off with Bitcoin, right? I'm going to look at Bitcoin for y'all. Bitcoin. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel. Let me hide that right there. So let's zoom out a little bit on Bitcoin. Let's go out to a 6 month time frame on Bitcoin. So on the 6 month time frame, we are bearish. It takes 6 months, 6 monthly candles to complete this. So 2 of these candles completes a yearly cycle. And if Bitcoin decides to come down, right? I mean, right now it's in a sell program. Let's look at a 12 month. 12 month. All right. So the 12 month time frame is a yearly candle. It takes 12 months to complete one of these candles. And so far on the 12 month time frame, we have retraced down inside of this area right here for Bitcoin. Y'all tell me in the chat, what is that right there? What is it? What kind of PD array is this right here? Y'all let me know in the chat. What kind of PD array is this? What kind of PD array is that in the chat? Yes, Ryan, fair value gap. FVG, what kind of fair value gap, Ryan? Yes, AWB, Shep, yes. Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin. BISI, y'all are correct. Buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. So when price back in 2024 just shot up higher, right? It just went up higher. It left behind all kind of inefficiencies in here. Inside of this candle right here, right? Inside of this candle, this 12-month candle, there's all kind of PD arrays and liquidity pools that's resting inside of this candle. So what we do is we drop down the lower time frames and we go down into the microscope. Ryan, we hit the midpoint. Yep. You think that's random? I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell y'all who think this shit ain't algorithmic and that y'all think it ain't if y'all think it's random. We almost hit the midpoint, but we came close. If I throw a Fibonacci on this as well, from the fair value gap high down to the low, I can get my gradients, right? I can get even more specific. I'm not going to do that here, but you can see. Trade down into a BISI for Bitcoin, right? Now, we got 8 months left in the year, right? This is a yearly candle. We got 8 months left. Do we start to rappel higher? We could. What's the geopolitical narrative, right? You got to tie in Bitcoin with the geopolitical narrative. Does the dollar start coming lower? If it does, it's going to be bullish for crypto or Bitcoin. Does the dollar start pushing higher? That's going to be bearish for Bitcoin. So it's all depending on other aspects. It's not just this aspect. Or does the system reset and things break and things kind of decouple? Do things decouple? If the markets decouple, anything goes. That's also an element. The markets can just all decouple because of some type of event, some type of something, some type of situation. But right now, just sticking to what's going on right now, Bitcoin clearly in the discount on the 12 month. Now let's go down to a 6 month. 6 month time frame. We got 2 months left for the first half of the year to be over. That's crazy, all right? We're already in April 2026. We got 2 months, first half of the year to be over. That's crazy. But I kind of want to see how do we close on this 6 month candle. on this 6-month candle, do we continue? We got 2 months left. Does this candle want to push lower, right? Does it want to come down lower? And if so, where does it want to go? Well, we got the fair value gap. We're inside of it. Each one of these quadrant levels, price can find support, or we could trade through them. Let's just hypothetically say we go lower. If we go lower, we're probably going to want to come down to the lower end of this fair value gap. But Bitcoin is in a discount, right? On the 6 month, let me see. Let me go down to a monthly. Let's go down to matter of fact, 3 month. Let's go down to a 3 month. On the 3 month time frame, order flow is bearish. We're retracing. If I take a low, for example, if I take this swing low right here, this swing low back in October 2022, and I go up to that swing high right there, are we in a premium or a discount? This is a 3 month time frame. Are we in a premium or are we in a discount? And does that align with the fair value gap? Does that align with the fair value gap? Y'all let me know in the chat. Smash the like button, participate, do what y'all need to do. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Premium? Are we in a premium? We're going to take a closer look and we're going to show you if this shit is random or not. I'm going to show you if it's random or not. Does this shit repeat, or is it random, or is it not? So Ryan, you're saying in the premium, let's zoom in a little bit. Is it random? Look at the equilibrium, right? Can I make this shit up? No, I can't make it up. Look at the equilibrium level. So it's neutral, right? It's in a discount. I'm saying more it's in a discount, but look at the level, the 50% level of that range I just drew, right? If I hide this fair value gap, you'll see it. So not only we are in a discount in the fair value gap, but we also we're near the equilibrium of the Dillon range. Ryan, you said you had to zoom in? Yes. So we're kind of neutral, but we're in a discount. So Bitcoin, right? It could come down lower, but it's technically in a discount. As long as we stay below equilibrium, it's in a discount. I think it's in a discount. I kind of want to see it come down a little bit lower, but hey, I'm not in control of the markets. If it decides to come lower on a 3 month time frame, it's probably going to want to come down, take out this low, and then aim for this low. If it comes for this low right here, that is 49,000 Bitcoin. It's to be determined. All of these markets right now are ambiguous. They're in a position where it's like they're kind of waiting for something to happen. That's the best way I can describe it. They're waiting for some type of event. And I don't know what that event might be, because I'm not that good. I'm good at these charts, but I'm not that good. I can't tell you what event is going to drive these markets. But you can see this is a monthly time frame. When we traded up, right? We traded up back in October 2025. Bitcoin made the all-time high. When we made that all-time high, it swept buy-side liquidity right there. Boom. Buy-side liquidity. And what smart money did was they offloaded their long positions above this high. And ever since then, they went into a sell program, right? Buy program over here to the left, hit a key level sell program over here to the right. And it's been in the sell program. We got a SIBI right here, monthly SIBI. I'm going to highlight that. Monthly SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. I'm going to give it another color, orange. We trade into it, reject it, sell program, market maker sell model. We trade down, hit the 3 month or the 6 month fair value gap. I forget which one this was. Let me zoom out. It's a 6 month. So yeah, 12 month, my bad. We trade down into the 12 month fair value gap. And now we're just kind of ranging and consolidating. Look at the levels, right? We trade down to this level right here, which is the equilibrium of that range that I drew on the 3 month. And look how we're just holding price, right? And as we hold price currently, I'm also looking at this wick, right? I'm not going to put my Fibonacci on it, but I'm looking at that wick in price. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Hit that like button. Subscribe. I'm looking at this wick in price. I'm looking at Bitcoin currently. I'm trying to tie it into how what is Bitcoin's role? I'm going to ask y'all that in the chat. What is Bitcoin's role in the global economy right now? What is Bitcoin's role? Y'all let me know, because it's still, out of all the crypto, it has the most volume. It has the most capital flowing through it. What is Bitcoin's role in the global economy? But right now, it's in discount, right? And it's kind of, I'm just waiting. We on the monthly time frame, we got 18 days left in the month. Let's go down to the weekly. Zoom down to the weekly. just by looking at the weekly, I like the sell side, right? I like to see these lows come down and be targeted. And what do I mean? I'm gonna highlight it. So we got this swing low right here. Boom, right there. That's sell side liquidity. If you don't know what sell side liquidity is, or liquidity period, liquidity is where they leave their orders. Smart money, the market makers, they leave their orders behind in the market. And if you learn from me, you'll learn easily how to identify where the orders are in the market. But they got a lot of sell side liquidity below us, even though we're in a discount. I want to see them attack this. If I zoom in on the weekly, right, zoom in a little bit, it's consolidating sideways. But we can look at this candle right here. What kind of candle is that in the chat? Y'all let me know that in the chat. This is a weekly time frame. What kind of candle is this right here? Or what is this that I'm highlighting? What area and price is that am I highlighting? Yes, Shep, Sibby, Dorelli, digital store value, Ryan, digital gold. That's what they say. So I think Bitcoin is here to stay around temporarily. I don't know the future of Bitcoin. I don't know the future at all, but we're here to talk about the now. And yes, right now it's a digital store value. Right now, Bitcoin consolidating down at discount, and it's kind of waiting, building sentiment. It's going to be some type of trigger to set this off, whether that's bullish or bearish. What is that? What is that stimulus? I don't know. But for right now, I know we're in the discount. I would prefer them to come down a little bit deeper, right? Come down a little bit deeper. I want to see 48,000 Bitcoin so everybody can panic. I'm kind of betting against everybody. I want to see it because on the opposite side of it, somebody's going to be buying it. So that's kind of why I want to see it. It's going to offer a deep enough discount where smart money is going to be buying, but I'm going to sit there and look at the crypto community complain. And, I'm kind of, it's entertaining at this point. Everybody in crypto and shit is entertaining. So I kind of want to see it. Not wishing ill will on nobody, but some groups just live in delusion a little bit. Some groups live in delusion, but you could clearly see, okay, if I kind of just zoom out a little bit over here to the left side of my chart, you can see a market maker buy model. We go up, we hit premium, we go into a market maker sell model. We're currently in a sell model. We're at discount, and I want to kind of see us come down and take out liquidity. Right now, we're just consolidating. It's waiting for some type of sentiment in the market. All right, let's go down to the daily. All right, we just started the new week. Start zooming on the daily. It's been ranging. Even this right here, y'all might not see it, but me and my community could see it. I could take opportunities in all of this right here, right? And I'm not trying to make this into one of them, but I could show you many opportunities in this chart right here. We rally up. We take out buy side liquidity right here, right? This was, I want to say, the end of March. End of March. We go up. We clear out the buy side, right? Clear out the buy side, and this is what the smart money is doing. This is what the market makers are doing. They go up, they take long positions, they sell their long positions and get in shorts, and then from here down to here, right here, they are shorting back and forth. They're buying and shorting on both sides of the market, while everybody else is waiting and hoping for a clarity act. Everybody else is hoping and waiting for some type of event. No, me and my community and us traders, we don't have to wait on shit. We're going to get in here and get busy, right? We're going to get in here and get busy. We're not waiting on nothing. We're not asking for nothing. We're not praying. We're not begging. We're taking advantage of the moment because we thinking like smart money. When I zoom down from the daily down to the 15 minute, there's many opportunities in here. We go up, take liquidity, market maker sell model, right? Market maker sell model. All I got to do is do this right here. Find a dealing range. For example, if I take this high on the 15-minute time frame, this swing high down to the swing low right there, right? You tell me, you be the judge. When we go down, create this low, and then we rally back up. When it goes up, it trades into a premium, right? Trades into a premium. Look over to the left. Boom. See all of this over here? I bet you ain't see that. I bet you didn't see that. So right here, you got a 15-minute SIBI. See that? You think that's random? No, that's not random. What about the one below it? What about this one right here? There's another 15-minute SIBI on the 15-minute time frame, right? Many opportunities, dozens of opportunities. And trading near the equilibrium, 0.5 of that range that I just drawn out, trade right into it, consolidate, and then they eventually let it go and it sells off. And what do you think smart money is doing? They're taking profits on both sides, shorting the market. Look over here to the left. You see all this liquidity in the market right? These old lows. Below those lows is sell side liquidity, pending orders, right? Pending orders right here, sell side liquidity right there. I'm gonna drag that over to the right in a minute. What about these lows over here, right? See all these lows in the market? They leave behind the orders. They can't hide it from you. It's in plain sight. And let's just draw it out to the right, right? Market maker sell model. I know where their orders are. You might not know where their orders are. I'm always knowing where their orders are. I know that sounds like, how the hell you know where their orders? Nah, I know where their orders are. So again, they're shorting from up here. If you miss that top up there, that's like picking the top. Well, guess what? I can still get in sync with it by the range. We get in equilibrium, right? Middle point of the dealer range, come up to a premium, and then short the market down, take out liquidity. That's where they're exiting. Is it random? These lows over here. Is it random that they take profit right there and it consolidates back into a range? No, it's not random. When it goes back into the range, I could take this swing high right here. You see that swing high down to this swing low right there. I can do that. I can say, hey, this is a new dealing range right here. Just like that. It consolidates for a while, but nonetheless, you can still trade it. Consolidates. Let me zoom out to one. Let's go out to the 1 hour. Go out to the 1 hour time frame. And what I'm demonstrating is this range right here. We go back up. After taking out liquidity, we trade right back up into the premium side of this range right here. Trade up into it. Look at this candle right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now, this is high resistance, right? Now, this is when it kind of gets kind of choppy, but you can still trade it. But when it trades up into premium, it trades right back into this up close candle right there. What kind of candle is that right there? Y'all let me know in the chat. Up close candle right here. I'm going to drag it over to the right. I'm going to label it, and you tell me the precision in that. Bearish order block. You tell me in precision in that. What kind of candle is that? What kind of candle is that right there? I draw it out to the left. To the right. Is it random, right? Is it random how price trades right into it? Bing, just like that. That's not freaking random. It's not random. Price will come back up to a premium, trade right into it. Opening price, precision, consolidate a little bit. You got to sit through it. And then what does it do? Eventually roll over again. And when it rolls over, it eventually comes down and take out old liquidity in the market. Just like that. And now it consolidates and it goes back up to premium. But when you zoom back out, right? Just zoom out again, go back out to the daily. When I showed you this right here, how on the daily time frame it's just sideways and it seems like nothing is going on and it seems like everything is quiet. No, I'm going in there showing you, hey, there's dozens, dozens of opportunities that's going on when you think nothing is going on. Right? There's dozens and hundreds of opportunities happening when you don't think nothing is going on, because you might see this and say, oh, it's just consolidating. It's not doing nothing. Well, I'm here to tell you there's more to the eye, right? There's more than to life. Let me go back down to a 5 minute, right? I was on a 15 minute and I want to just point something out to you. Make sure y'all subscribe. Subscribe. On a 5 minute time frame, right? We go up, we create this high. I'm just going to mark out some shit. You know what I'm saying? Just for whatever. We go up. It's over to the left. We go up, peak out. We displace lower. So there's multiple things you can use. What kind of candle is this in the chat? Y'all let me know in the chat. I'm going to highlight this to y'all. What kind of candle is this? Who's going to get it right? What kind of candle is that? Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, y'all. Subscribe. What kind of candle is that right there? Anybody know? Shep, you say it's a Bissy. It was a Bissy. But what happened? We go up, we trade through it, and then we return right back into it. What kind of candle is that? There you go, Dorelli. It's an inversion fair value gap. Inversion gap, right? So we go up, we trade through it. Just because we trade through a fair value gap don't mean we can't use it. We trade through it, we trade right back into it. If I lay a Fibonacci inside of this inversion, just like that, right? Is it random? When it trades back into it, well, where should I enter at, right? You might have, when you first learn this, you're going to struggle with fair value gaps, where to enter at inside of them. But when we trade back into it, bing, just like that. Is that random? The 0.25 level when I lay my Fibonacci. Y'all think that's random? How it trades right into it and then leaves it, Nah, that's not random at all. You might not even see, check it out. You might not have seen the inversion fair value gap. So let's do this. You might be somebody who don't want to use the inversion fair value gap. You might see this something like this right here. What kind of candle is this right here? What is this right here? Because you didn't see the inversion. There's multiple ways to get into the move, right? There's multiple ways. So what is that right there? Y'all let me know in the chat. What is that right there? There you go, SIBI. So it's up to you what you want to use. Look how I know it kind of I might make it seem like it's easy because I'm just pointing shit out, but you can choose what you want to use when you see it. If it's there, you can use it, right? So look, and then it sells off. That's a SIBI. Trade into it. But me, I'm seeing the inversion. You might see the SIBI. Trade down, right? Trade down. Displace lower. Oh, what is this right here? This is a 5-minute time frame. Here you go, right here. Another SIBI. Look, retrace right back into it. Bing, just like that. Sells off, right? When it sells off, let me hide this. Let me hide some of this right here. We trade up into the SIBI and then it sells off again, right? So when it sells off, you might see something like, what kind of candle is this right here? Make sure you hit the like button. What kind of candle is this right here? If you're just joining, we're looking at Bitcoin. We're talking about the Great Reset, etc. What kind of candle is that right there? What is that right there? Anybody? Shep, you see the bearish order block? Okay. I see there's the SIBI, right? But you see these consecutive up close candles? What do you think those are? Not just one candle, consecutive. So all of them, right? So let's start at the base. Let's start at the very last one at the bottom. That's a bearish order block. We trade right back into it. There's also, you might see the SIBI right here. You might see the sell side imbalance. You can use the bearish order block. You can use the sell side imbalance. It trades right back into it. Also, check this out. I'm going to just keep cooking for y'all, just for y'all can, we create a swing high right here. And we drop down and create a swing low. What is that right there? That's a dealing range, right? So let me draw my Fibonacci from this swing high down to this swing low. And then it comes back up. When it comes back up, where does it trade to? To short. Where do you want to short at? Do you want to short in a discount or do you want to short in a premium? It trades back up into the range, trades into the order block. There it is, premium. So you can enter on a premium. That's another element to what you can use. What about my OTE settings? OTE stands for optimal trade entry. Let's pick at that. So all I do is switch my Fibonacci settings to a settings called OTE, which stands for optimal trade entry. And all you're using is the range. You're not even using fair value gaps. You're not using order blocks. You're using the range. And yes, you can trade the range. You don't need nothing else. You can just trade the range. It comes up, you wait for it to come to a premium, you hit the sell button. It trades back deeper into the premium, which stands for optimal trade entry. These levels, the 0.62, the 0.705, the 0.79 level, these are the optimal trade entries. And as long as it's trading up to these premium levels, you could be pulling the trigger, right? Pulling the trigger, and then it drops, right? When it drops, it takes out. Look at all these lows over here. You see this? It's not random. Look at these lows over here. Below these lows are liquidity. This is what algorithms are doing nonstop all day, every day. High frequency trading. Nonstop all day, every day, high frequency. So while everybody else, to me, while the world burns, these are the strategies that we're implementing, right? While everybody is waiting and hoping for the assets and things to get right, the market makers, the smart money, the institutions, high frequency traders, hedge funds, everybody's in here taking advantage of the moves. But this is a world that y'all can't see if you're not aware of it. If you're not aware of this world, then you can't see it. You have no idea that this is even a thing. You have no idea. So that's the OTE, trades up, high frequency algorithms, put in hundreds of contracts, sells off, fast money. If this was the futures contract for Bitcoin, there's a lot of money just being made on that one position. Comes back up, sells off some more, takes out liquidity. If I look over here, this BISI over here, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. If I highlight that right there, and just drag it over to the right, you'll see bing, 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 just like that. Targets, right? Just hitting those levels. Is it random how it trades right down there to that BISI? Rejects, goes back into the range. Oh, here goes another Dillon range. Let's use my OTE settings. Swing high down to swing low right there, right? Optimal trade entry. Trades back up. All you have to do is just wait. If you can't identify SIBIs and fair value gaps, all you got to do is wait for it to come to a premium. It trades back up into a premium. Is it random that it trades right to the 0.75 level, right? 0.075, excuse me, 0.075 right there. Bing. You think that's random? Look at these levels. Look at the wicks. Why does it pause and stop right there? Why doesn't it want to continue to go higher, right? Even with this, we can start breaking down on the premium side of the range. See this red line right here? That's the 50% level. Above that is premium. Below it is discount. If I'm bearish, I wait for it to come above the 50% level, start going into a deep premium. And when it goes into a deep premium, you can just sell that premium, or you can look at what PD arrays. Look at these consecutive up close candles right here. That's a bearish order block, right? Bearish order block right there at a premium. Let me notate it. Bearish order block. Also, if you don't see nothing else, look at this SIBI. Sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. Price trades right back into all of this right here. When it trades into all of that, all that is multiple confluences. Give you meaning you got many ways to get into a trade. When you got more moving parts that allow you to get in the trade, that's confirmation that this thing is going to go in your direction. It trades into all of those levels and then it sells off. And when it sells off, they're targeting these lows right here, sell side liquidity. And then trades right back down into this BISI that I highlighted. You think that's random? No, it ain't random, right? And then eventually, after taking out liquidity, it rallies back up to a premium. And then it just repeats over and over again. I can go all the day. And then check it out. Check this out. I got projection levels, even off this range right here that I highlighted. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's zoom out, right? I'm going to do this Fibonacci from this swing high. This is my OTE. This swing high down to this swing low right here. You see that? Swing high, swing low. Price trades up into OTE or premium, optimal trade entry. And then I have projections. I have projection levels where I can project and forecast where price is trying to go. And we're shorting at premium, and then you can take profits at all these levels. See each one of these levels right here, 0.5, 1, 1.5, etc. You can start scaling out your positions, right? At these levels, taking profit. And guess what price does? It at least goes down to 2 standard deviation. That's a 2-to-1 risk to reward scenario. So again, I can do this all day, but that's another element to this. So this right here, what these different maneuvers, these different techniques, these different technical skill sets that I just showed you, many tools that I have, this is one side of one side of the market that you might want to learn. But when I zoom out and I'm giving y'all narrative and I'm giving y'all geopolitical outlook, that's more long term. Hopefully y'all understand the difference. So when I go in there and be a technician, right? When I go down to lower time frames and I'm being a literal technician, I'm doing surgery in the market, right? I'm out here performing surgery when I go down to these lower time frames. And to me, nobody can stop you if you master this skill set. Nobody can stop you. Matter of fact, if y'all haven't came over here to the Patreon, y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Y'all want to join the Discord, make sure y'all do that. And make sure y'all come over here on X and sign up to me on X. Oh, I gotta go back to that, bro. Y'all seen that shit with the man burnt down the warehouse? We gonna get into that. I'm gonna come right back to this. The man burnt down the warehouse and cost him like $1 million something. He facing like life in prison. So I don't know if it was worth it. But hey, he made a point, right? He made a point. All right, he made a point. But let's come back to Discord. I mean, crypto, that's Bitcoin, right? I'm just showing you that there's many opportunities when you don't think there's many opportunities. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let me go ahead and remove everything off this chart. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Y'all let me know if y'all learning something, right? Let me know if y'all learned something. Right there. All right. Darrell, he said all those paper products, poof, gone. Yeah, man. And we need them, man. We gonna be needing that shit. Literally, that shit, literally. All right, so that's Bitcoin, right? That's Bitcoin. And then for XRP, you know, like I said, I only pretty much follow, track Bitcoin and XRP. I don't really see a need to follow everything right now at this moment because I'm already occupied in other markets. Do the same thing, go out to a 12-month time frame, very similar to Bitcoin. On a 12-month time frame, if y'all haven't done so, XRP trading down. What kind of PD array is this right here? You see this candle that pushes up? What kind of PD array is that? Y'all let me know in the chat. Yes, Shep, BISI. Same with Bitcoin, right? Same thing with Bitcoin. That's a BISI, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Trades down, tags the midpoint, 12-month time frame. So each one of these candles lasts a year. And you start working your way down from the 12-month to the 6-month. AWB, yes, BISI, 12-month to the 6-month. On the 6-month, yeah, we inside of a 6-month fair value gap. But I'm going to elect to use the 12-month fair value gap, right? Because the 12-month is the parent time frame. The 12-month is the parent time frame. The higher the time frame, the more influence. So I'm using the 12-month fair value gap. So I'm on the 6-month. From the 6-month, you go down to the 3-month. You can see we just started the quarter. We got 2 months left in the quarter, second quarter 2025. This can flip around real quick. So hey, crypto is a narrative in all of this, right? It's starting the narrative. We got the Genius Act. It's kind of aligning. We might flip bullish if the dollar starts to come down for whatever reason. The world might switch over to crypto, and there's nothing the dollar in the United States probably could do about it because these are decentralized blockchains. So anybody can hop on board, any nation, whatever. They can be anonymous and do transactions without censorship and you know what I'm saying. 3 months, go down to the 1 month. Just quiet, consolidating. And when it's quiet like this, I hate to say it, when it's quiet like this is when you want to fucking pay attention. When it's quiet like this, you got to zoom out, really pay attention because things can flip real quick. But right now, it's holding very well inside that 12-month fair value gap. Bitcoin and XRP holding very well in these fair value gaps. Monthly time frame, we got 18 days left in the month. Then we'll go into May, and we'll be coming to the midpoint of the second quarter. Once we get to June, we'll come to the end point of the second quarter. So let's go down to the weekly. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Oh shit, I'm hyping y'all up, bro. Y'all talking about boom in the chat, bro. Y'all seeing it? Oh shit. I'm over here hyping y'all up. The crypto. Yeah, man. It's consolidating. Look at the volume. It needs institutional sponsorship. It's not random how they tank it, right? A lot of volume, a lot of shorting in this. And then it hits the fucking 12-month fair value gap and it goes quiet. Do you think that? Come on, man. Bro, I don't know what else to do to convince people how this shit is algorithmic. They sell it off very heavily. And as soon as it arrives to the 12-month fair value gap, it goes quiet. It goes dark. Look at the volume. Just leave the market. And then look at all the scenario in everything that's going on right now in the global economy. Look at the narratives going on. Are the Middle Eastern countries, or is Iran and the BRICS nations, are they on the verge of implementing cryptocurrency to do trade and exchange on distributed ledger technology? Well, if we are living in the Great Reset, y'all already know that's a part of the agenda. Y'all know that it's coming. Y'all know that's coming. So you know it's coming. So hey, let's hold tight, right? Make sure y'all hold it down, still learn this skill set. Cause I don't have to depend, me personally, I don't have to depend on crypto to kind of get to where I'm trying to go, right? It's going to be nice, but I don't have to depend on crypto because the shit that I just showed y'all, the skill set, the know-how and the knowledge and the ability to trade and go in these markets and do whatever the hell I want to do. That to me is more valuable than holding things long-term. That's just me. Right. But it's going to be nice as the narrative plays out. Right. It's going to be nice. And for people that don't really have the time to learn the skill set and trade, then you're just going to have to wait it out. You're going to have to wait your time. And waiting, I don't have time. I want to put my money to work right now. But following Bitcoin and XRP, those are my primary assets that I watch and follow on the day-to-day. Right? Make sure y'all subscribe. Get the subscriptions up. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Tap into the Patreon. Subscribe to me on X. So that's Bitcoin. That's XRP. I'm not going to keep track of everything else. I've seen XLM starting to roll over. XDC starting to roll over. H-bar kind of rolling over. So we'll see, man. Everything is hedging on the current events over there in the Middle East. The dollar, right? The dollar, does it start to move higher or does it start to come down? Everything is depending on the debt market and the currency, the battle for the dollar. That's what's going to influence everything. Oil as well, because oil is the backbone. Oil is the number one commodity in the world. That's crypto. If we just briefly look at gold and silver, gold pretty much gapped down, right? I would like a nice discount on gold, but we shall see, right? We shall see. I think gold can take off as well. I think they repriced it, and now I think gold can go kind of in a range for a long, extended period of time where they just trade sideways, right? I could see it trading sideways, but eventually wanting to move higher over time, right? Same thing with silver. I can kind of see silver kind of just trading sideways in a range for a long period of time and then wanting to move higher over time. So range trading for gold and silver, that's going to be a good thing for traders. But for people that's investing in it long term or was looking to invest in it, it's going to be frustrating because it's like, damn, I bought gold and silver at a premium and I wish I could have got it back then. But no, these are the new repriced ranges for the assets. Gold and silver has been repriced. Now they're going to trade in the range, and that's going to be the new value of the metals. Equities. Right now I'm bearish. It's all pending on the dollar, etc. The equities. I'm bearish on that. Currently, I'm bearish on the equities because the equities are directly correlated with the treasury bonds in the dollar, right? So we got to watch those assets to see what we want to do. As far as a trading perspective, you see this gap down lower. This is the let me go look at the NASDAQ because that's the market that I trade. We gap down lower. You can see that gap right there. Who remembers in the chat on Sunday and Friday? Friday's closing price and Sunday's opening price. What do we call that in the chat? If you follow equities, Friday's closing price and Sunday's opening price. What do we call that? Yes, the rally, new week opening gap. AWB, Trump is filling his orders. Ryan, you said way back I said it was coming to this. Yeah, man, it's amazing, bro. It's amazing. Yes. So, yes, that's a new week opening gap. I'm just going to throw my Fibonacci on there to kind of demonstrate what it looks like. There's more details to it, but this is what it is. Close and then the open. So you can see the gap open. There's a gap. Most people not even aware of the gap, but there's a clear gap. That gap for the NASDAQ is roughly, let me see. That's a 350 point gap right there. 350 point gap. And when it gapped down, check it out. It went down and took out the liquidity. Y'all think that's random? Look at the liquidity from Wednesday. Took out the liquidity from Wednesday. And now it's probably we're going to see how it plays out. I don't trade on Sundays. I need to see how Sunday night trades and going into Monday. There's no news on Monday as well. But it gaps down, clears out the liquidity, and now it's going back inside the new week opening gap. Let's see what plays out. So that's the equities. I want some more headlines to get up out of here. I'm going to view some more things pertaining to the Great Reset, and then we're going to get up out of here, right? I'm not going to hold y'all all night. Let's play this, man. So it's a little long, but I'm gonna play it. If y'all tap in, cool. If you're ready to go, I did the analysis part. I pretty much covered everything. It's almost a wait and see thing as far as the markets. Let's see how the narrative and the agenda plays out going into this Iran conflict. That's going to influence the markets. Right now, I'm kind of neutral with all the markets. I'm neutral, but let's see how the dollar trades. Let's see how oil trades. And if you're a day trader, all of those things are going to influence the equities. And for my crypto people, it's a narrative thing. So the crypto is based on, timing, narrative. Y'all stay on that, right? Keeping up with all the latest, like the Clarity Act and all of that, right? Y'all keeping up with that, because to me, crypto is in the background. It's going to be utilized. It's just there's other elements outside of crypto. All the markets are connected, so you got to pretty much include other things as well. But crypto is probably going to be a sleeping giant. We already know it is. Let me go ahead and play this video. Out on the brink of a new world order, right? We're on the brink of a new world order, the Great Reset. Let's go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to get up out of here.
In the modern world, there has always been a winner. Always. From the Dutch Golden Age to the British Industrial Empire to the American century we're still living in. Global economics has never been a shared game. It's been a chain of empires, a baton passed from one dominant power to the next. For the last 80 years, that power has had one name: the United States. Whether directly or indirectly, every major economy on Earth has been shaped by American influence. Its money, its markets, its technology, its decisions. No country truly stood apart. But lately, things feel different. Uncertainty, disparity, instability. We see the headlines, we feel the consequences. But underneath it all, something bigger is happening. We're watching the collapse of an economic balance that held the world together for decades.
Gaza is at a tipping point. The adults who are malnourished today will die. But it's preventable, and it's preventable if we make the action to happen now.
Introducing Iron Beam, a bright choice for futures trading. Iron Beam is an industry-leading broker catering to traders worldwide with 24.
But if you cut through the noise, if you get to the core of how global power actually works, you'll always find the same four forces shaping the game. They're the pillars of global economic power, and whoever controls them writes the rules. The first is monetary power and financial influence. Then follows industrial production and global supply chains, access to raw materials and energy resources, and finally, technological leadership and innovation. These pillars don't operate in isolation. They're deeply connected. Finance fuels innovation. Innovation transforms industry. Industry depends on energy. And energy is always tied to money. Real power isn't just having one pillar. It's knowing how to balance them all. Because when that balance breaks, the whole system shifts. The global order we know today was built around these four forces. But it's being reshaped right now as each pillar becomes contested. The United States is still the most powerful economic force in the world. But if we want to understand where this instability is taking us, we have to go back. Back to the moment the modern world was born. After World War II, the world lay in ruins. Cities bombed out, industries shattered, economies on their knees. Except for one, the United States. It was the only major economy left standing in the world. By 1945, America controlled about 75% of the world's gold reserves. It had the only currency the world still trusted, and that changed everything. In 1944, as the war was nearing its end, 44 nations gathered in a small town in New Hampshire, Bretton Woods. There, they agreed on something monumental. The world needed stability, trust, and a foundation for rebuilding, and so they made a choice. The US dollar would become the world's primary reserve currency, backed by gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. This wasn't just symbolic. It meant that every currency was now pegged to the dollar, and the dollar itself was backed by physical gold held in American vaults. This wasn't just symbolic. It meant that every currency was now pegged to the dollar, and the dollar itself was backed by physical gold held in American vaults. The US had just claimed one of the 4 pillars that define who rules the global economy: the monetary power. In the years that followed, this system reshaped the global financial order. The dollar became the benchmark for trade, for investment, for debt. Every country in the world needed dollars to move money across borders, and that demand was constant. This unique position gave the United States an incredible advantage. It could print more dollars to fuel its economy. And unlike other nations, it didn't need to worry about inflation in the same way. Why? Because even as more dollars flooded the world, every country still wanted them. At the same time, America could issue massive amounts of government debt and still be seen as a safe bet. U.S. Treasury bonds became the gold standard of global investment, reliable, stable, and backed by the most powerful economy on Earth. With this monetary dominance locked in, capital from around the world flowed into the United States, into its industries, into its innovation, into its future. While Europe struggled to rebuild from the ashes of war, the Soviet Union remained closed off behind the Iron Curtain, and China was locked in the chaos of Maoist revolution. The United States surged ahead. Fueled by an unprecedented flow of global capital and a government deeply committed to its industrial base, America emerged as the undisputed manufacturing superpower. By the 1950s, it was producing nearly half of the world's industrial output. Detroit became the beating heart of this new industrial empire. The big 3, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, weren't just American icons. Together, they built 80% of the world's cars. U.S. factories ran day and night, powering a booming middle class with millions of well-paid jobs. American steel, led by giants like U.S. Steel, dominated the global market. In chemicals and plastics, companies like DuPont and ExxonMobil revolutionized entire sectors, laying the foundation for modern materials. At this point, the United States didn't just control the world's money, it was the world's factory. It built the machines, the cars, the infrastructure, the energy systems. And with its massive investments in research and development, the U.S. quickly became the global hub of technological innovation too. 2 more pillars were now firmly in American hands: industrial production and innovation. By the 1950s, the United States didn't just control the money. It didn't just dominate global production or lead the world in innovation. It controlled also the fuel that powered it all. The American industrial machine was built on an extraordinary advantage: abundant access to raw materials. From steel to copper, aluminum to iron, the U.S. had direct and indirect control over the resources that mattered most. The oil, above all, was everything, through what would later be called the Seven Sisters, a group of U.S. and British oil giants like Royal Dutch Shell and Standard Oil. America held influence over more than 90% of the world's oil reserves, excluding only the Soviet bloc. But oil was just one piece of the puzzle. The great mining regions of Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia, rich in the materials modern industry depended on, were largely under the control of colonial empires still tied to Europe. And in the post-war world, Europe needed America more than ever. Thanks to the Marshall Plan, a massive U.S. aid program that helped rebuild war-torn economies, Washington gained immense influence over its ally, and by extension, their colonial supply chains. In other words, raw materials flowed where American interest pointed. Resources from Congo, Chile, Ghana, and beyond. Fueled American factories, powered American cars, and armed American dominance. At this point, all 4 pillars of global economic power were concentrated in the hands of a single country: currency, industry, resources, innovation. And with that, the United States wasn't just a superpower. It was the center of the global economy.
Chevy trucks are as dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. They don't need permission.
But American dominance was never without its challenges. Even while the U.S. held the crown, the world around it was already starting to change. By the late 1960s, the golden era of American economic supremacy began to show its first fractures. Decades of rapid industrial growth, massive defense spending, especially in Vietnam, and ambitious domestic programs had one thing in common. They were expensive. To sustain it all, the US printed more and more dollars, but in a system still technically tied to gold, this came at a cost. Nations like France and Germany, wary of America's rising debt, began converting their dollars back into gold, draining US reserves at an alarming rate. By 1971, the pressure became unsustainable. President Richard Nixon took a dramatic step. He suspended the dollar's convertibility into gold.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators.
For the first time since World War II, one of the four pillars of U.S. dominance, its financial system, was no longer untouchable. The dollar was still important, but the guarantee behind it was gone, and the world noticed. But the troubles didn't stop there. While the U.S. tried to stabilize its economy, a quiet revolution was taking place across the world. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, waves of independence movements swept through Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. Nations that had long been under colonial rule, and whose natural resources had fueled Western industries, began reclaiming control. Oil, copper, bauxite, uranium. Suddenly, these were no longer under the hands of Western corporations. Countries like Algeria, Libya, Zaire, and Indonesia began nationalizing their resources, cutting deep into the invisible supply chains that had long powered the American industrial machine. And so, while one pillar of U.S. power was shaken from the top, the dollar, another began to erode from below: access to cheap global resources. The cracks were forming, and America was no longer the only player in the game. But all of a sudden, a new shockwave was about to hit, and it came from the Middle East. In October 1973, the Yom Kippur War erupts. A coalition led by Egypt and Syria launches a surprise attack on Israel, aiming to reclaim territories lost just a few years earlier, including the Sinai Peninsula. The United States, unwavering in its support for Israel, steps in, and the Arab world responds. The OPEC nations impose a devastating oil embargo on the West. The price of oil doesn't just rise, it quadruples. Overnight, the American economy is shaken to its core. Industries built on cheap oil suddenly face soaring costs. Factories slow down, inflation spirals, the age of easy energy is over. But in the shadows of this crisis, something extraordinary happens. In 1974, President Richard Nixon and Secretary of State Henry Kissinger broker a secret deal with Saudi Arabia. The terms? Saudi Arabia agrees to sell its oil exclusively in US dollars. In return, the US offers military protection and privileged access to Western financial markets. But the deal doesn't stop there. The Saudis, and eventually other OPEC nations, agree to reinvest their oil profits into US Treasury bonds. In other words, oil money starts financing American debt. And with that single move, the United States re-engineers the global economy. Anyone who wants to buy oil now has to buy dollars first. The petrodollar is born. In one strategic pivot, the U.S. silences doubts about the strength of its currency, reasserts control over global energy markets, and turns oil into a vehicle for dollar dominance. American industry stabilizes, but something even bigger is about to happen. What happened in that moment gave the American economy the oxygen it desperately needed. And it was during those very years that one sector began to explode: finance. Finance becomes the new frontier of American power. In the late 70s and into the 80s, New York rises as the undisputed capital of global finance. Wall Street isn't just where money is made, it's where the world goes to access capital. The US no longer needs to produce everything it consumes. It can borrow, invest, speculate. The dollar is the king. Wall Street is the palace. And the American economy becomes more financialized with each passing year. The new era brings with it fresh capital, flowing from oil profits, debt markets, and a booming financial sector. And that capital goes somewhere. Into innovation. The 1980s and 1990s become the golden age of American technological ambition. With Wall Street backing bold ideas, a new generation of companies is born. Lean, experimental, and ready to change the world. Silicon Valley transforms from a niche hardware hub into the epicenter of global tech. Computers become personal. Software eats the world. And then the internet happens. Fueled by decades of financial dominance, America becomes not just a market leader, but a technology superpower. Companies like Microsoft, Intel, and later Amazon don't just shape markets, they reshape society itself. Up to this point, everything seems unstoppable, but beneath the surface, America's incredible prosperity came with a cost. As wealth spread across the middle class, labor became more expensive, and slowly the country began to change.
Do you support Israel and the Jewish people? Now, more than ever, Israel needs
What had once been the world's greatest industrial engine started to shut down. Factories moved overseas, jobs vanished, and a pillar of American power, its industrial base, began to crumble. The United States, once the world's factory, it was now becoming the world's consumer. It shifted from producing goods to importing them, and in doing so gave up another sphere of influence: control over natural resources. As former colonies gained independence, resource-rich nations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America began to manage their own raw materials, reducing America's grip on the global flow of commodities. In just a few decades, two of the four pillars that had once defined U.S. dominance, industrial production and resource control, began slipping out of its hands. And while America was outsourcing its factories, something was happening on the other side of the world. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping rises to power in China, and he sees it clearly. If China is to grow, it needs to change everything. For the first time, a communist country embraces capitalist economics. The doors open, foreign investment flows in, and China becomes an emerging industrial hub, powered by cheap labor and massive ambition. By the 1990s, the shift is unstoppable. Western multinationals, American, European, Japanese, begin producing in China, drawn by low costs and high efficiency. In 2001, China joins the World Trade Organization, gaining full access to global markets. From that moment on, China can export to the world with virtually no restrictions. In just over 40 years, China goes from isolated nation to global production powerhouse. It becomes the largest industrial economy on Earth and the world's top exporter. One of the four great pillars, the same one that had once built American supremacy, now belong to China. China's rise in recent decades is fresh in everyone's memory. We don't need to revisit the industrial boom, the demographic explosion, the real estate frenzy, or even the technological acceleration. What matters now is where China stands today. This is no longer just a country catching up. China has reached the frontier, and in some areas, it has already overtaken the United States. Tech giants like Tencent, Baidu, and Alibaba have built digital ecosystems that rival and sometimes outpace their Western counterparts. They've done this inside a single market of over 1 billion people. Today, China isn't just competing in tech. In many fields, from social media to AI, from EVs to e-commerce, it's leading. TikTok, born in China, dominates Western screens. DeepSeek and other AI challengers threaten to disrupt American tech supremacy. BYD is now outselling legacy automakers in the global electric vehicle race. And for the first time, China is on the verge of claiming one of the four pillars of global economic power, technological innovation.
Tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations.
What's happening today, Trump imposing global tariffs, especially against China, is not just a sudden move. It's the direct consequence of what has unfolded over the past 80 years. The Trump administration is, quite frankly, desperately trying to bring American industry back to its former glory. The glory of the 1970s and 80s, even at a high cost. And to do it, they're turning back to the original source of American power, the dollar. The same dollar that was used to respond to Putin's invasion of Ukraine by sanctioning oligarchs, freezing assets, and blocking transactions through the SWIFT banking system, which, not by coincidence, remains tightly under American influence thanks to the dollar's dominance. On the other side, the developments we're seeing today in China and across the developing world also have deep roots in the same four pillars. For years now, the BRICS nations have been working on a common currency, a way to free themselves from the grip of the dollar. China, for example, has signed deals with Saudi Arabia to buy oil in yuan rather than dollars, reducing its dependence on the American currency. At the same time, China is likely offloading U.S. Treasury bonds, once the core of its foreign reserves, while ramping up its holdings of gold. What will happen in the next few years, it's hard to predict. But what is clear is that the next decade will be marked by a powerful sense of economic uncertainty. Because when two giants, the US and China, become so large that they can't help but collide, they end up competing directly across all four major economic spheres. And the consequences of that kind of collision are disruptive. They ripple out from the highest levels of the economy down to something much more personal. Consequences that will eventually touch the daily lives of all of us. Thanks.
So there y'all go. A brief history on the New World Order, the Great Reset. It went back in time. It talked about the beginning of this. If y'all want to come look at this video, it's called this right here. On the Brink of the New World Order. It was a 2025 documentary. I thought it was very interesting. If y'all just joined in late, I went through a lot. I went through the markets. I did technical analysis, went over the markets. A lot of the stuff they was talking about, if y'all noticed, treasury bonds, debt, they talked about all in this documentary I just showed you. And I tied in with current situation, current things in the economy. Ryan, good video. Appreciate it, Ryan. I'm going to play one more. It's not going to be long. It's a long video, but I'm going to play one more and I'm going to get up out of here, right? Just trying to run down the history. So, you know, the China, America, that is going to those two countries are going to collide at some point, and they're trying to avoid each other, but both of them are too large to not collide at some point. But let's go ahead and cap it off with this right here. Let me see, cap it off right here.
China is preparing the ground for what?
In the view of U.S. intelligence officials and government leaders now for years, China is preparing to be able to fight and defeat the United States military in a war.
This week on 60 Minutes, we report on concerns that China might be plotting to weaponize land that it has in the United States and giant data centers that it is building here. The worry in Washington is that these assets could be used for espionage or to cause havoc in a time of war.
There is Chinese ownership of all kinds of assets in the United States that pose a range of national security threats, some of which we've begun to kind of recognize and mitigate in recent years, and some of which I think we need a lot more work to recognize and to address through policy.
We spoke with David Feith. In the first Trump administration, he worked on U.S.-China policy for the State Department. Until recently, Feith worked in Trump's second administration on the National Security Council. And while there, he grew alarmed as China bought up American farmland. Farmland? Why would that be a problem?
The ability to own large tracts of land, especially close to sensitive U.S. military and government facilities, can pose an enormous problem given the nature of technology today, which is that a hostile actor from across the world can very easily exploit access to land, access to buildings and warehouses, access just to a shipping container or two, and do enormous damage, either in intelligence terms or in military terms. Look at what the Ukrainians, for example, did to the Russians just a few months ago by sending a shipping container full of autonomous drones deep into Russia, opening the container and unleashing the drones against Russia's nuclear bomber fleet when it was on the ground, carrying out an enormously successful attack for the Ukrainians. And China has, through its ownership of assets, including farmland in the United States, far more operating room.
You don't necessarily have to have an intercontinental ballistic missile anymore.
Certainly not.
Because of drones.
Exactly. And it's an entirely new way of war.
This fear is why in 2023, North Dakota politicians blocked a Chinese company from building a corn mill near an Air Force base. At the time, the company denied it would use the mill to spy on or harm the United States. China isn't the only nation buying American farmland. As of 2023, non-Americans own about 45 million acres, or about 3.5% of agricultural land in the U.S. That's up about 70% from a decade earlier. Canadians own about a third of that, while Chinese nationals own just under 1%, or 277,000 acres. But that's enough to grab the attention of politicians. There's no federal law stopping foreigners from buying American farmland, but 29 states now limit it or ban it altogether. The Trump Agriculture Department says it will work with Congress to stop countries like China from buying land in the future.
Beyond the farm, Feith says there is growing concern about Chinese crypto mines in the United States. Those are the giant data centers that support cryptocurrency. Feith believes that they could be used for espionage or to sabotage the electric grid.
They're effectively enormous and enormously powerful data centers. The first threat they pose is for intelligence collection, and the second threat is that they can sabotage the power grid because they draw so much power.
Paint that scenario for me. How would that happen?
These crypto mines are so power hungry. They draw so much power in order to power the computations that allow the mining of the cryptocurrency that really at any time of choosing, they can sabotage the grid in their area. And the fact that these mines, these large, powerful data centers, are so often located near sensitive U.S. military facilities underscores why this would be a potential catastrophe in crisis or conflict with China.
How extensive is the infiltration?
It's a nationwide problem.
Now, a Chinese company operating in the United States would say,
we are taking this purpose and our American farmland back. American agriculture is not just about feeding our families, but about protecting our nation and standing up to foreign adversaries who are buying our farmland, stealing our research, and creating dangerous vulnerabilities in the very systems that sustain us. Reshoring and nearshoring our food and agriculture supply chain is essential for our nation's security. In coordination with the White House, the Departments of Treasury, Defense, Homeland Security, and Justice, as well as state governors, state agriculture commissioners, local, tribal, and territorial governments, today we announced the USDA's National Farm Security Action Plan. This plan includes 7 key action items, and there's a lot of people here that I want you to hear from, so I'm not going to go one by one, but just very quickly. It's on our website. The press has gotten a preview of it, and we can ask some questions once we finish the main program. But very quickly, and perhaps the most important, the first of the 7, is securing and protecting American farmland ownership. Actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries. Standing on the shoulders of great governors, 3 of whom are standing behind me, who have already been leading the way on this issue. And at the federal government level, working to do everything within our ability, including presidential authorities, to claw back what has already been purchased by China and other foreign adversaries. Additionally, working with the Treasury of the Secretary of the Treasury, along with our Defense Department on memorandums to ensure that moving forward, There is
I
a
would
much more intentional look at who is buying what in this country and from where they are in the world.
Make sure all the school teaching the children how to be a homosexual and make sure.
I'm gonna switch the video. I'm gonna end it on this. I know I keep saying that, but we're gonna end it on this. This is the original video I was trying to play. New World Order, Charles Schwab. Let's get it.
Has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. It has laid bare the fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion, and equality. In short, we need a great reset. We have a choice to remain passive, which would lead to the amplification of many of the trends we see today. Polarization, nationalism, racism, and ultimately increased social unrest and conflicts. But we have another choice. We can build a new social contract, particularly integrating the next generation. We can change our behavior to be in harmony with nature again. And we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. It is obvious that we are in the midst of the most severe crisis the world has experienced since World War II. 75 years ago, countries and people came together to shape the post-war global order, which brought us decades of peace, which brought us decades of peace, which brought us decades of peace, increased global cooperation and prosperity,
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously.
Bush's deadline for Saddam Hussein to leave Iraq, that U.S. warships and planes, there were F-117 stealth bombers involved, launched the opening salvo of Operation Iraqi Freedom. The attack came in waves, cruise missiles, followed by the F-117 stealth bombers with so-called bunker-busting bombs. Their target, a bunker believed to be sheltering what are called top leaders of the Iraqi regime. Now, this is what it looked and sounded like in Baghdad. It was this short, and this is what happened. And this is what happened. And this is what happened.
Decades of peace.
He struggles, stumbles, and shouts as he fights against the enraged rebels.
And prosperity. Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight the real virus, but to shape the system for the need for the post-corona era.
But do you ever stop and think if what you do is sustainable? And do you know what sustainable development means? Sustainable development is to make the world a better place for everyone now without destroying the possibilities for the next generations. If you wonder if something is sustainable, you can ask yourself, can we do this over and over again forever? And the better systems we create for a fair distribution, the more sustainable we are. This journey ties us together. If we are to win the battle for a sustainable future, we have to play with fair rules that applies to everyone. Applies to everyone. Applies to everyone. But for us to be the best versions of ourselves, there are certain things that must be in order. Like having equal opportunities. This provides greater opportunities for us as human beings, but also for the planet. We just have to think in new ways. We just have to think in new ways. We just have to think in new ways. And there is actually a plan for this. All the countries of the United Nations have agreed on a joint plan for sustainable development. Sustainable development. Sustainable development. But for the plan to work, we need to cooperate, and we need you to be on board. We need you to be on board. We need you to be on board. Are you with us?
Not only human.
I haven't been to the grocery store in months because this delivery service offers hundreds of high-quality
beings, but so many of the greatest things about our country. But after all we've been through, it isn't enough just to go back to normal. We've lost too much. We've mourned too many. We've been through too much frustration and hardship just to settle for the status quo ante, to think that life can go on as it was before the plague. And it will not. And it will not. Because history teaches us that events of this magnitude, wars, famines, plagues, events that affect the vast bulk of humanity, as this virus has, they don't just come and go. They are more often than not the trigger for an acceleration of social and economic change. Acceleration of social and economic change. Because we human beings will simply not content ourselves with a repair job. We see these moments as the time to learn and to improve on the world that went before. And that's why this government will build back better.
There's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult, and it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. You know, is it okay to still have children? Is it okay to still have children?
Documentarian David Attenborough described humanity as a plague upon the earth.
I can't think of a single problem that wouldn't be easier to solve if there were less people.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
I must be missing something, because every single thing that happens today is climate change. Kids in schools are being brainwashed. Parents don't seem willing to strike back. Universities fill the heads of their students with global warming rubbish. The corporate world is virtually exercising a form of blackmail. Superannuation funds say, if this particular corporation or that particular corporation doesn't have a climate change strategy, we won't invest. Banks say we won't provide funding for a coal-fired power station. Everything's climate change. The floods in England are climate change. The tornadoes in America are climate change. The bushfires are climate change. It is we who should be terrified and aghast that people of such intellectual dishonesty are in the national parliament. This stuff is damaging, it's dangerous, and it's everywhere.
Subversion, that is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears open up their eyes and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. The main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. 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 It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. Programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place and who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. Simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice.
All right, y'all, that was just some clips of the agenda, right? The agenda. That's going to be it for tonight. I definitely appreciate y'all joining. Again, y'all be on the lookout this week. A lot of things. I think it's going to be a volatile week in the markets. We are in a New World Order agenda. So much I can cover, man. This stream will be too long, right? It'll be too long. I'm coming back over on X and looking. Because it's constant updates and constant news that's just coming out, and I can be all night with this, and I ain't trying to hold y'all all night. Hopefully you learned something this evening, right? When it comes to the technical analysis and the narrative, and the agenda, the Great Reset and the charts and the markets. And if y'all missed that video where I showed you the brief history of everything, what the hell is this? Let me keep scrolling because that looks kind of, what is this? The Epstein files. Is this video from the Epstein files actually real? Is it really being said that he ate human flesh? I'm not gonna go there. We're gonna keep it. I ain't trying to get banned. X can get a little crazy, right? X can get a little crazy. It gets kind of crazy out there. Let's see. Yeah, man, it gets crazy on this X, bro. It get real crazy. Some things I don't know what to believe. Some things it is what it is. Donald Trump. How could we be expected to go to the South Africa from every important G20 meeting? Da da da. All right, Donald Trump is just tweeting. So again, one thing to look out for is high oil prices, high gas prices. Y'all better believe y'all gonna be impacted at the pumps and the grocery stores and in your day-to-day life because of this conflict. Be on the lookout for crypto, be paying attention to crypto. Y'all stay on top of that, right? I don't really keep up with the day-to-day news like I once did because I'm occupied with other things in other markets, but I'm still in touch with price. But be on the lookout. It's going to probably be a volatile week. We're going to have probably a lot of economic news come out this week. If y'all want to tap in with me in the Discord, y'all come over here, click the link in the description on my channel. Y'all tap into the Discord and the Patreon. Y'all come over here and sign up to me on X, right? Y'all subscribe to me on X. This is my channel, my page. Y'all come to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, right? Subscribe. I still got my free courses. I might do one tomorrow, right? Another continuous course. Courses 2026. I might drop another one tomorrow, so y'all might be on the lookout for that, right? If y'all want to learn pure technical analysis, my channel is an educational channel. I know I'm kind of blending in narrative. I've been doing that a lot lately. I've been blending in a lot of the geopolitical narrative and things, but that goes along with technical analysis. Before you can be a good trader, right? Before you can be a good trader, you have to be a good analyst. You have to be a great analyst. Once you become a great analyst, then you can be a great trader, right? And the type of analyst I am, I am more of a economist. I have an economist perspective where I'm looking at all the narratives in the economy. I don't try to be right neither. I don't try to be correct about my worldly views. I just sit back. I like to put everything on the table. I like to bring in the geopolitical war narrative. I like to bring in the dollar narrative. I like to bring in the crypto narrative. I like to bring in the oil narrative, right? I like to bring in the BRICS narrative. So all these narratives, I bring them to the table. I kind of look at it from an economist viewpoint. I like to bring in the economy things, like what's going on in the economy, the job market. I like to get the sentiment of the people. That's why TikTok and stuff like that. Not so much doom and gloom, but I try to get the sentiment of everything. And I kind of use all that sentiment that I compile and pretty much put together. I know I'm pretty good at filtering shit out. Like, I know how to filter out the bullshit, and I like to find the real quality shit. And I think I got a good filter when it comes to that. I don't take everything in. I'm looking for specific things, and I do a good job at finding that stuff that allows me to have an economist view. And then with my technical skill, my technician skills in the market, which I'm very surgical, I teach y'all that the markets are algorithmic. They repeat over and over again. The markets are on code, and the things repeat. So it's almost putting all that stuff together and becoming a great trader, a great analyst, and a great economist. So that's what I'm teaching over here on my channel. If y'all like it, y'all make sure y'all subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll get back with y'all on the next video, in the next live stream. Peace out.